Hi class, happy Monday, and I just wanted to say that I hope I see some of you tonight in my office hours for any questions on last week's chapters, the review material or the new stuff, as well as anything going into Chapter 5 from here on. This is our first body unit, the Integumentary System, which a lot of people maybe don't realize is a body system. Your skin and all of the accessories, as they're called, the hair, the nails, the glands. That's what this chapter covers. It's kind of laying the groundwork, so to speak, for all of the other units to come, all the new body systems to come, and it's a great jumping point from what we just finished in Chapter 4 with the tissue layers, because now we're seeing some of those tissues put together. Your skin is not just a tissue layer. Yes, there's, you know, all of the different basic tissues in there, but it's a couple of different tissues that make up your skin. So you not only have your epithelium, the outer covering, but you also have some of the connective tissues as well as the nervous tissue in there, and the adipose tissue, and all of those things, types of connective tissues in there, connecting everything together and making that entire organ work as itself. It's actually the largest organ in your body, and I read some statistics that there's something like 10% of your body weight is just skin. Ooh, it's kind of creepy. So if you weigh 200 pounds, that's 20 pounds of skin. Something to think about. So I wanted to just give you some pointers on how to get through this chapter. First of all, if you haven't noticed, your textbook has learning objectives in it at the beginning of every section. So those learning objectives can serve as checkpoints for you to assess your knowledge, or when you're getting ready to study for your test. Take a look at those objectives and see if you can accomplish those objectives. For instance, let's take a look at the objectives on page 149 at the beginning. It just says, describe the general functions of the integumentary system. So a good strategy would be, when you're going to study for your quiz or exam in a couple of weeks, look at that objective and see if you can describe the general functions of the integumentary system. If you can't, some of the basics of producing vitamins, protection, sensory perception, temperature regulation, some of those basic functions, then you might need to go back and review it. So let's move on. Something else that you'll probably want to start doing, a lot of students in my face-to-face classes really enjoy doing graphic organizers. It's a little bit of a mental challenge, but when your mind is mentally challenged like that, you tend to work really hard, and you remember it, and you say, oh yeah, I remember that was really hard to do, but I remember this one particular thing. Especially if you're a visual person. Using lots of colors in your graphic organizers is a great way to do that. Now, I'm just now getting the function in my right hand back, so my graphic organizer right now is kind of lame, but I'll show you how to make it better. So, for instance, I started making a graphic organizer on page 149 of just that skin section, the first little section there on the epidermis. And so what I did was, I have the word skin in the middle, and I would of course be branching out on all of the different parts over here, but just for simplicity's sake, the first layer is the epidermis, and you see coming off of the epidermis I have all the different types of cells there. The cells that are listed right from the chapter. As I was reading, I was just writing these right into my graphic organizer. So I have the Langerhans cells, and then I would probably have a function right below that. I have the melanocytes producing melanin. I have the keratinocytes producing keratin. And then I might even, if I'm not familiar with the functions of those proteins, I might write keratin is for hardening and dehydration. Melanin is for that brown pigment. So you can even, make those a certain level of description. You can also color code things. So you can have all of the things about cells in a different color, or you can have every different type of cell in its own color. For those of you that are visual, you'll be sitting at that test and you'll say, oh yeah, I remember it was orange, it was in the left corner of the screen, what was it? And eventually you'll remember what it was. Up here with the layers, what I've done is I've put them in, this is mirror image, I've put them in a clockwise fashion across my word there. So it starts at the bottom with the stratum basal, stratum spinosum, granulosum lucidum, and finally stratum corneum. So you can even make up a mnemonic device for it if you want. You can add some descriptions in there if you want, or you can just keep it basic. Again, your studying is totally up to you and how you want to do it. But my students in the past have found graphic organizers very, very helpful in their studying and learning. It's a different way to kind of think about the material other than just flat on a page. Some of the other things that you'll want to do with this chapter is start doing flowcharts. For instance, on page, going through On page 164, there is a figure there of heat exchange within the integumentary system. This is a great step-by-step procedure on how your skin regulates temperature at the deeper levels of your body. So, writing a flow chart, taking each one of those steps. Step 1, blood vessel dilate, results in increased blood flow, blah, blah, blah. Step 2, increased blood flow, blah, blah, blah. Put them each on their own individual note card, mix up the note cards, and see if you can put it back in order. This is going to be the same thing for clot formation, for injury repair, and for some of the other physiology pieces of this chapter. That kind of note card strategy where you write individual steps on note cards and shuffle them up is a great way for you to start synthesizing some of these processes that we're going to be getting into. This chapter is pretty light in physiology, but the upcoming chapters are going to increase that physiology, that kind of deeper level of thinking more and more. It's not just memorizing bones and muscles, it's much, much more than that. So if you get some good study habits down now, hopefully that will pay off in the long run. I hope you guys are doing well. Please keep me posted if you have any questions, and have a great day. Bye.